In sales, you do need the beast and you do need the kind of the worker. But from a character perspective, personality perspective, that's only separated by skill set. It's not separated by personality. What you're looking for is someone that is prepared to put the work in no matter what.
I had a brand new team, and this was in the startup phase of the second company that I launched that we were just talking about earlier. And they're all like, well, I don't know. We don't think it's possible for us to hit $100,000 a month in revenue for this offer. And then I'm like, okay, I go close myself in the office for a weekend, generate 400,000, come back and be like,
there you go.
What happened to this? And they're like, Hey guys, and welcome to the Level Up Podcast. I'm going to be your host, Paul Alex. I'm here with a very special guest. He's actually a close friend of mine. He's a former copper as well. You guys know my law enforcement history here. But also, he became one of the top sales coaches in the online digital marketing world, Sean Wray. Sean, how you doing today, brother?
I'm good, brother. Thanks for having me.
Oh, no, absolutely, dude. I had to go ahead and get you on the pod. I know you got SalesCon, which is your first conference here in Miami. Dude, how'd it go?
Phenomenal, man. Like when you put a bunch of 1% sales reps in one room, sales leaders, business owners, magic happens, It was a great event. So we are doing another one next year. So I hope you're there. And we'll have you on stage next time, right?
Dude, I have to attend, but as you know, man, I had to come back as a CEO to one of my businesses and I had to rebuild. I had to rebuild the sales process. And I think when you first came into the office, we were talking about, building a great team, the atmosphere, the culture.
Yeah.
So I think this is going to be a great episode for you to actually talk about, sales, what it takes to build a great sales team.
Yeah.
And then overall, I just want to get into your head, dude, because I know you got a wealth of knowledge.
Scary space.
Hey, man, more of a detective here. It's what I do. So, Sean, let's go ahead and start with your background, brother. How did you get into what you're doing now? What did you do before? Obviously, you were a copper, but what got you into the sales industry, brother?
Interesting. So I was obviously a police officer, 13 years. And I got to kind of the space in my life where it was just like, well, I'm doing something, but I'm not really fulfilled. And you know as well as I do, it takes a lot to move from doing what we do, and we don't get paid well for it. We just sacrifice for it, but it was great camaraderie, and it was a really great purpose and a really great mission. But I think one of the real things for me was I just kind of felt the purpose wasn't there anymore, and I didn't feel like I was really serving in a way that I really wanted to. And it was really weird. I went to an exposition event in London, and I don't know whether I'll say his name or not, but I'm gonna say it anyway. Donald Trump was speaking.
Yeah.
And his story for me, I was like, do you know what? I want to be able to tell stories like that. And I wanted to be able to put myself in a position where I've gone through adversity and I've come out the other side of it. So I kind of, in that moment, and again, it was really weird. I just kind of had a moment of self-reflection, and I thought, do you know what? There is something that needs to change because it'll just be more of the same for the next 20, 30 years. Because let's face it, we were never going to get sacked from that job. Do you know what I mean?
No, absolutely.
We could have just coasted and been where we were. So I made a decision, networked my face off. And then someone that I knew got me into the Rich Dad Poor Dad organization. So I started, ground up, outbound dialing, events team, all that kind of stuff. And I absolutely loved it. So I spent 6-7 years on the event circuit, just going around seminar speaking, doing all that kind of stuff, like go to the back of the room, that type of thing. So I was the sales guy there. Then eventually I was a seminar speaker. And then I got into high ticket sales about 8 years ago and just loved it. Fell in love with sales. Like I'm obsessed by it.
Dude, so real quick, to go back to what you were saying, how did you find out about actually getting into sales, like the sales industry? So if we got other coppers, which obviously like half my audience is cops, dude, so they're going to be like, well, I'm pretty good at talking. And I resonate with Sean about fulfillment and passion because I felt the same way, dude. And that's why I transitioned out of law enforcement. Because I was just like, dude, I got to do something for myself. I got to do something for my mom. Right?
Absolutely.
So if somebody's trying to get into sales, what would be the path of least resistance, Sean? Like, what would you tell them now?
Yeah. Listen to you. I mean, in all honesty, like your network is the fundamentals of where you start. Because I only got in through someone I knew, and so of course you can go and be a car salesperson. You can go and sell homes, about traditional stuff.
Yeah.
But what we do is kind of alien to people. So it's kind of like reach out to someone like you and say, hey, man, I'm a cop. What do I do? And we know the path because we're well connected.
Right.
But, essentially you've got to learn how to do it first. I mean, obviously, police officers, we're great communicators and we're great leaders. And I think that's one of the skill sets we were just talking about. As a copper, you're a phenomenal leader. You should be. There's always one or two.
You should be, guys. All right.
You're a leader, so you know how to command people. You know how to communicate with people. You're intuitive. You've got EQ. You've got IQ. But you need to put it into a structure that makes sense to having a conversation. I mean, in the world we live in, you're taking a complete stranger from zero to investing $15, $20, $35, $40,000. That's not an easy thing to do.
Yeah.
So it's taking the skill set that you have and organizing it into a process and getting really good at that process. And same way as you, copper, you put the work in and you get the results out. But by hard goddamn work and focus and dedication, take the skill set that you already have, learn the skill set that's missing, and just apply the same work ethic. That's why you are where you are, and that's why I am where I am, is because we put the work in. But the other side of that is knowing what work to put in. And I think that's where, having connections with someone like you, and if you are following this podcast, like it's difficult to get into this industry unless you have someone that can direct you and put you in that direction. And ultimately, it's not what you know, it's who you know. And from there, you've got to get some sales training. Like you just have to. There's no shortcut to this because, and you know what it's like running an elite team. Like you can't just walk into this stuff because you've got to perform. And you've got to come into a cutthroat industry and be able to cut your teeth with people that have been doing it longer than you have. So there are no excuses. You have to just step up. You have to do the work, and you have to do whatever it takes to get the result on the back end. So yeah, learn the skill, be relentless with it, and don't give up and quit, because it's easy to succeed when you have the right mindset.
No, it makes perfect sense. And to go back to mindset, Matt, mindset is everything. I think
100%.
mindset is what separates what we would call proactive police and the report takers, or police that were more reactive.
Absolutely.
Not to bash my people out there. I love the police, right? But this is coming from a civilian now. We're civilians.
Exactly.
And at the end of the day, we speak the truth, and we're very transparent, and it is what it is. You have to put in effort with everything that you do in life.
Absolutely.
Right? So to get into that, let's talk about what it takes to build a great sales team, man, because you're the expert, dude.
Yep.
You're the expert. This is your field. With me, I'm big on delegation, right? So let's say, for the people watching right now, because I'm pretty sure we have a lot of marketers are going to be watching this, and first-time business owners, and they need people to sell for them.
Yeah.
So what should they be looking out for when they're looking to hire a closer, or let's say a sales development rep, or let's say a consultant? What would be your top 3 recommendations to look out for?
The first thing is being ready, because I see business owners jump into hiring a sales rep too quick. And if you haven't sold it, don't delegate it. Wow. Because you can't teach someone to do something you've never done. Like, one of the reasons why we got on famously is because if me and you need to jump on a phone right now, we would just do it. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because we've done it. And I think that as a business owner, you need to be ready. So you need to have sold your own product or service. You need to have a sales process. We spoke about that before. Right. If you don't have a sales process, it's kind of like you asking someone to go into a kitchen, a McDonald's kitchen, without a process and say, hey, make a Big Mac. Okay. You need a process. You need a system. You need to have led from the front. So here are my calls. This is how I do it. This is how I close it. And you need to have good lead flow, you need to have good systems, good processes, and you need to have a good recruitment pipeline, and you need to have a good onboarding process, and you need to be the leader that's ready to actually take someone on as well. So the first part is just being ready to take someone on.
Makes sense.
Because you can't delegate something you haven't done and you haven't proven to work, because all you're going to do is just get frustrated with the person that's coming in. You can't, like, it's fair enough, like buying experience, that's great. But if the experience doesn't have a process, then it's just potential is just wasted.
Right.
So you have to have done it yourself. You have to, because even if you're bringing in a talent, they might not have sold to that particular avatar before, or solved that particular problem before, or offered that particular solution before. So yeah, I can bring in great sales talent, but if you haven't got a process, it's just wasted. So that'll be the first thing I say. The second thing is, you've got to be ready to lead a team. Just because you're a business owner doesn't mean that you're a leader.
Yeah.
And I see it so many times. You probably see it more than I do, to be honest. And it's like you're not ready to take on another human being at the moment because you've just never done it before. And if you've never done it before, you need some guidance on that one, because it's going to be a horrible time for you otherwise, and it's going to be super stressful. There are, again, frameworks that you need to put in place, but how do I lead someone? How do I teach someone? How do I train someone? How do I QC someone? I mean, in this industry, most businesses fail within the first year through lack of leadership.
Facts.
And you can hire as many people as you want, but it doesn't change the fundamentals that you are ultimately responsible for the performance of your team, and you are responsible for your business's outcomes. And, you came back in because you were like, right, this is what I need to do.
Yeah.
But the other side of that is you had the confidence to go, I know exactly what needs to happen.
Right.
And that level of conviction, like it transcends to a team that you bring in. Again, it comes back from, how to do it. You came back in and you did it, and you led from the front, and you build a culture. So they've got to be ready. They've got to be willing to take on a team. And then recruitment. Like, who am I looking for? Right? It's no point in just saying, hey, I need a closer or I need an SDR, because there are literally millions of them out there now.
Right.
But what type of person do I want to work with? So you've got to understand the culture of your business. Because again, skill is one thing, culture is completely different. You can bring some very skilled guys in that have got zero IQ, EQ, very good at closing, but culturally, really bad fit. And so they, no matter how good they are, they won't align with mission, vision, purpose, and they won't align with your culture. So the third thing really is about know what your culture is by doing that mission, vision, and purpose exercise, because you'll get more buy-in from someone if they know where they're going, right? If they know where they're headed. But if you just bring someone in without that, like I'm hiring someone to for a home, not a job. I'm hiring someone because I'm building something, not because it's a short-term stopgap. So you've got to understand, what does the business need? Who does it need? What type of person does it need? And I can teach skill set all day long, but you can't teach culture. You either have it or you don't.
Yeah.
And again, what you're looking for is a leader, especially with your first hire. You do not want someone that's just a follower. You need someone that can take your instructions and go, I got you, and be able to put the work in and have that confidence in themselves that they're going to do it. So again, with your first hire, having someone that needs to be constantly watched and constantly, overseen and micromanaged, it will just lead to an absolute disaster. So there is an element of having the right person in there that's going to be willing to do the work. You can teach skill, but you can't teach that.
And those are three great points there. Let me ask you this, man. Let's say for our beginner CEOs or beginner founders, people that are just in the startup phase, right? They got a little bit of money coming in. Where do they go ahead and find somebody for their online business? Like, where can they go ahead and get a pool? Because you're saying there's a ton of sales development reps out there that can book appointments for them, and there's a ton of consultants out there. But for the people watching, I'm pretty sure they're like, Sean, you're saying there's a ton of them. Where do I go?
Where do I go? Yeah, absolutely.
Because if you were to tell me, hey, I'm full transparent, man. I'm good at what I do. I'm decent at what I do. But if you were to ask me right now, hey, Paul, there's a ton of them. I wouldn't know where to search.
No, you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
There's certain groups on Facebook that you would naturally want to go to and naturally be part of, because they're where all the top talent goes. So there are Facebook groups, great. You can advertise on Indeed, on LinkedIn, and you'll get a ton of people. But your best resource
Yeah.
is a network. So if you said, I'm looking for a top closer, I would hope that I'd be on the top of your list.
Yeah.
Because being a sales recruiter for the last 5 years, there's no one I don't know, and there's no one I can't get. And so recruiters in this industry are worth their weight in gold, especially when you're after top talent. Now, your business needs to be at a place where you can attract top talent. Now, if you're looking for like a closer that is in that top 10%, and typically closers don't typically like 5% of closers will make 10 grand plus.
Right.
So you've got a very small pool of people that you can pull from for a company like yours. And so when you're first starting out, you might not be able to attract that type of person. So you have to be aware of where your business is and what type of closer you can attract. Typically, when you're starting out, you'll be looking for a B plus player, right? Because their expectation will be lower because your lead flow might not be there yet. Your sales process and systems might not be validated yet. And so that closer first coming in is high enthusiasm, high culture, maybe not great skill set. It'll be good enough to get the deals done, but they're not going to blow your mind, right? But as you build, and the OTE on the offer, i.e. you can make 10 grand, you can now attract a better line of closer. So for people just starting out, Indeed, LinkedIn, you'll be able to kind of pull from a good pool of people. Your own social media as well. It's a great way to do it. If you've got a lead list, again, you don't know who's in your community that you can kind of tap into that might be looking to transition. They're usually good places to start, close to home, your social media, your assets, your email list. The kind of the connections that you have, because I guarantee you know a closer, but you just haven't asked for one yet. So start close to home first and foremost, then transition to someone like Indeed or someone like LinkedIn, the kind of bigger platforms, because most closers now have profiles. Most closers now, the high ticket space is known. Yeah. And so they are very available. So you can go to kind of places like that. Like I said, Facebook groups, Facebook communities are a good place to go because you naturally have a community of people that are already there. But watch out though, because closers close and they're very good at selling themselves.
Very true.
So
very true.
If you're gonna start taking on closers, a couple of tips to keep you safe is ask for calls that they've done before, so that you can. Because if you were, I don't know, obviously I'm from the UK, so I'm going to use a football analogy, which I'm probably going to get lost in right now. Right. But if you were the coach of the Miami Dolphins, you wouldn't take on a quarterback that you haven't seen throw the ball.
Absolutely right.
Get calls from them, right? So listen to. Is this person the right fit for me? Are they a hard closer? Are they a rapport closer? Are they a consultative closer? Many, many different types of personalities, but you want to see calls, at least two, one they won and one they lost. It's important to see the one they lost because people don't really like rejection. And so how they objection handle is more of a reflection of them personally than it is anything else, or a lack of training. But you want to see one good call and one bad call. One close call and one call. You also want to see references. Right? Closers don't like to give those because if they haven't been on offers before, they don't want you digging into their past. Yeah. So ask for some references, ask for a resume, and ask for an intro video. So minimum those 4 things, right? And a lot of business owners don't ask for them because they're not aware that they can ask for them. And so it's just, I'm looking for a bum on a seat. But be slow to hire, really slow to hire, because that's an asset that's either going to make or break you, especially with your first hire. It's a huge risk. And I'm not saying that to scare anyone, but take your time. Don't just go, oh my God, he or she said yes, I'll just bring him in right now and just put them in my offer. It will be the biggest mistake you ever made. Hiring is not easy. And statistically speaking, you'll go through 5 to 6 reps before you find the one. So don't expect the first one to be easy, because it's not going to be. And don't expect the first one to stay with you, because they probably won't. And as your business grows, what you started with, you won't typically take them through to the next phase because they're probably not good enough to do so. And so you always have to kind of keep an eye on your talent acquisition and always be having conversations with the closers, because you never know. When your business gets to 500, a million, you need a different caliber of closers to get to that level. When you start changing offer prices, you need a different caliber of person that can say 35K with a straight face, because what are most people in motion about? Money. And so if you've got closers maybe earning 5 to 7 and they've never seen a 35K investment, they're going to be really nervous about saying it. You know, unless they're a sociopath or psychopath, which most closers typically are. So it's really important for you to kind of be very, very slow with your first hire. It's like I said, they'll either make or break you, but don't expect a home run on the first one. You know, put in the work and interview as many as you can. But you're going to have to make a decision at some point. And if you can, hire multiple at one time because competition is good.
Yeah.
But one of them typically won't last anyway. So if you do have the lead flow, hire a couple. But when you interview them, 3 phases. One is a group interview phase. Always a good idea. See how they interact with us. It's a good kind of culture fix exercise, how they speak in front of others, how they conduct themselves in front of others. You're able to see instantly how they dress, how they present themselves, knowledge of the company, whether they're using blurred backgrounds or not, which is a pet peeve of mine. I don't know why, but it is. It's like, what are you hiding back there? Maybe that's copper's nose, maybe. I don't know.
That's the copper mentality, bro.
It's like, what are you hiding? So you're kind of looking for those things on the first round. The next round will be a role play. So, you know, typically I want them to role play what I'm selling. So I'll give them my script and get them to role play my offer because I want to see how quickly they acclimate to something that I give them, whether they're going to put the work in and whether they're ready to face the challenge or not. You know, if a person's like, well, I've never sold it before, I don't care. If I give you a script, you should be able to pull that off. You know, if you're going to be any decent kind of person. And then the last one is a one-to-one. And in that one-to-one, set very clear expectations. What I'm talking about is the good, the bad, and the ugly. I expect this. I expect this. I expect this. What do you expect? So there's a very clear alignment from the very beginning, and no one gets butt hurt that, hey, man, I expected you to do some outbound and you're not doing it. Why aren't you doing it? Yeah. So it's really important to set those expectations. It's like a relationship. You know, don't want to get in a relationship with someone unless you've kind of aired your dirty laundry so nothing can kind of come out of the closet later on. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So there has to be that transparency on the front. So it is a slower process, but don't be quick to fire because it'll be the worst mistake you ever make.
And then would you say that a lot of business owners are dropping the ball
100%
when they're hiring?
Every single time.
Really?
Because it's instant gratification. Right, I'll bring in this person. They're going to make me this. No, it doesn't work that way. It's you. Like I said, you're taking the biggest risk by bringing someone into your company that you haven't essentially cultivated yourself. You don't know how you can trust. You don't know the work ethic. You don't know anything about them that you can validate whatsoever. And that's why that hiring process is really important because you at least get to put them through the mill before you bring them in. But most business owners just want that instant gratification of, I need a bum on a seat now, right? But how much are you spending on ads? You will spend a fortune on a bad hire, not just what they cost you in ads, in ad spend, in marketing spend, but what they cost you in deals that they blow, and relationships that they blow, like branding that they make a mistake on. One bad conversation leads to one bad review, which leads to tens of thousands of dollars of missed opportunities. Then it happens every single time. But just because you wanted that person now, you'll make the mistake. And that's where business owners go wrong every single time.
That makes sense. Man, that's some great info, Sean. So let's go ahead and take a deep dive into what makes a great sales consultant. Okay, a great closer. Like, what characteristics, man? I know as a cop, I know as a CEO that you have to be creative.
Yeah.
You have to be able to decisive, be able to make decisions, and you have to lead by example. That's why, like, everything that you said, dude, resonates like with my heart so much because, like, I have such a belief in myself that if I say I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it.
Yeah,
I'm going to get it done.
Absolutely.
It might take me a little bit longer because I'm not the smartest guy in the world.
No.
But at the end of the day, dude, I'm going to get this shit done, right? Let my results show off what I've worked for. So what would you say is some of the most important characteristics that business owners can look for a closer or a consultant for their online business?
It's a phenomenal question. That is very dear to my heart because being in sales recruitment for as long as I have, it can be somewhat dependent upon the business, but you've got to recruit someone that is a mirror image of you, because it's kind of like being on a sales call. I'm going to get frustrated with someone that doesn't think like me. And that naturally comes through with, if you do call reviews, which I do 100 a month, you'll see the frustration come out very, very quickly because they're not on the same wavelength with like how that client is talking and showing up and how you think. So there's a real kind of a clash between the two. What you're looking for is someone that has the same work ethic as you, that you can look at and go, I know that they're going to get the job done, because there's a trust there. So for me, and that's why that hiring process that I described, it's lengthy and very few closers will go through it. And the reason why is because either they've got something to hide, they're not as good as they say they are, or they just won't be they won't perform and give you the loyalty that you need as a business owner, because they're in it for the short-term cash grab. They're not in it for a home. What you're looking for is someone that is, what you're looking for really is someone that is prepared to put the work in no matter what. Right. That is prepared to do the hard yards, go through the long hours, and do whatever it takes. Now, that process that I went through there is a good way to filter that, because it is a long process and they do have to go through it. And what you're not looking for is someone that's looking for a quick fix job, because they'll be out as quickly as soon as something goes wrong, they'll be gone. And that's why, listening to a good sales call and a bad sales call is a really good way to kind of gauge their emotional EQ about how they take rejection and how they deal with the average person on the street that they're kind of not aware of and they don't have an alignment with. So that process will filter out a lot of that. But what you're really looking for is again someone that's identical to you, that you can just build a team of people that you see yourself in, because without that you're going to get frustrated with their character flaws very quickly, and that means that you're going to get frustrated on meetings, stressed out with the performance, and you'll overly QC them because they're not like you, right? You do need some, don't get me wrong, in sales, you do need the beast and you do need the kind of the worker. There has to be like a bit, but from a character perspective, personality perspective, that's only separated by skill set. It's not separated by personality. They should all have similar personalities, because that will create more cohesiveness within the team. And it's kind of like for like. Like there's a company in the UK called Pret, and how they hire people is they let the team decide whether someone comes in or not.
Oh wow, like a good old boys club, man.
Exactly right. So
That's
it's
cool.
like, exactly, I recognize you in me, and then there's that cohesiveness from the beginning, which creates a good team infrastructure. And so what you're looking for, again, reflection of yourself. What you're looking for is, if you have had highs before, you have a blueprint already of what that person looks like, because your top performer, you've probably had personal conversations with them. You know how they tick. You know their background.
Yep.
For me, I enjoy bringing on people that are a little bit older, been through some shit.
Facts.
You know what I mean?
I'm just saying, when somebody got kids, somebody got a family, this is like the third career. Oh yeah, they're more than likely going to be a winner.
They're going to put the work in. They just are.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And that's that reflection of you, because I work hard because my wife and my kids, and I want to provide, and they're going to do the same thing, And I'm not saying that someone that's kind of single, that, doesn't have those responsibilities isn't going to work hard, but there isn't a compelling reason why that if the shit hits the fan, then ultimately they're going to dig in. Because again, people are people, and it's the reason why you do something is the reason why you do something. And so if it's just for you, okay, it's personal gratification. People work harder for other people than they do for themselves. They'll sacrifice more for others. Leadership.
Facts.
And so now I'm looking for a leader that is in command of his own life. And again, another side of it is like on the personal side of it, I would be looking at someone's Facebook profile. And the reason is how they show up in their life is a reflection of how they're going to show up for me.
100%.
And Facebook is, it's the best it's the best foot forward. But if you're about your family, if you're about this and this, you'll be fine. But if it's just like, selfies after a gym pump and bathroom, there's a vanity metric there. And it's like, there's a bit of a self there. Do you know what I mean? They're going to put
a little bit of pride.
A little bit of pride.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, cool. Well done. Like, you got a pump on. That's great. But, are you more than that? You know, I want people that align with the values of my organization. And you see that in someone's social media. But remember, when you're going through the hiring process, they're on their best behavior. It's like a dating profile. They're going to put their best picture up. They're not going to put the ugly stuff up. And so what questions you ask is going to be indicative of what you're looking for. And so you've got to ask the hard questions. You know, a great question is, hey, it's Thursday. You're not your KPI. What are you going to do? Right? I'm looking for someone that's like, well, my weekend's blown out. I'm going to put everything in. I'm going to do whatever it takes. I'm going to do this. I'm looking for someone that is going to give me the answer that shows that they're willing to do the work, do the self-sacrifice, and do whatever it takes to win, because that's what I would do. Right. And the answers have to reflect what I would do and what I would want. It's really difficult to pick really good closers, because closers will sell themselves really well.
Yeah.
And really hard. Yeah. But again, if you've got a longer process with a lot of hurdles, those people get frustrated quick.
They'll get filtered out.
They'll get filtered out very, very quickly. I mean, typically for me, it takes about a month to pick someone out.
No way, really?
Yeah. Because
wow, I feel bad about myself now. I mean, like the fastest hire I ever did was like a day.
Yeah, you've got to prove yourself, because I know if you're prepared to stick that, you're financially sound, because you've gone through a long process and you're not clutching at money. I also know you're prepared to do whatever it takes. I also know that you're prepared to follow my process. You're not forcing me to acquiesce to yours. You've got no ego, right? Because you're prepared to do what I need you to do. And over time, you can't hide who you really are.
Yeah.
And so that's why my process is longer than most people's, because I'm filtering out the personality traits that I'm not looking for in a company.
Yeah.
So slow to hire, quick to fire.
But also, you're recruiting the best.
Yeah,
you're recruiting the best for the best companies.
Absolutely.
And nowadays, when digital marketing companies out there that they're selling either info products, services, and all that jazz, I mean, they're getting hit left to right, man.
100%.
I mean, expenses going up. They can't afford it. CEO steps away. Business crumbles down, just like we were talking about. So here's one question I want to ask you, Sean. Okay? And dude, you can agree with it or you can disagree. I don't care. I don't care.
It's your podcast.
What do you think about the saying, there's no such bad thing as a bad employee, only bad leaders? Do you agree, disagree? What are your thoughts?
100%. If I got in a car crash, it's my fault. Like, I'm an extreme ownership kind of guy all the way. And if that person's not performing, I chose them, I put up with it, and their performance is indicative of my actions, my results, my decisions. I'm taking extreme ownership of that every single time. And performance for me is one of two things, right? It's either I didn't teach them well enough, or they refuse to do it. It's a binary for me. It's black and white. And so as a leader, I need to establish which one of those two things it is. And so I need a foolproof hiring system, a foolproof onboarding system, and I need to put the time in. If I've done that, I know that I taught you how to do your job. But if it's, and then so I know that with the process that I have, because we pick for elite companies that expect more, I know the guy and girl that's coming in is going to be the best of the best.
Got it.
And I'm filtering all the trash out because it's my name on the door.
Yeah, facts.
And if I put someone in there, you're going to look at me and go, they're not performing. That's on you. I'm the leader. That's my responsibility. And so I am going to own that because it was my decision.
Yeah.
And that's why the process is what it is. And I'm never going to falter on that, because if you don't want to go through my process, then you're not good enough for me. And I hire for the top 1%. I don't hire for the 95%, because like the clients that we work with expect way more of me than anyone else does.
Of course.
And so I'm not just going to throw numbers over you. You're buying a result. You're not buying hit and miss.
Right.
And so when I look at that, there's a personal pride that comes with that. And so everything does come down to leadership. And so if it's poor performance, it's my fault. I either didn't train you well enough, or I picked the wrong person because you're refusing to do the work. And so it has to come down to me. And so we were talking about it before. I need to pick leaders that take personal responsibility and own that. And if they don't perform, I know I'm not performing. This is why I'm not performing. This is how I'm going to fix it. I got your back. That's what I want to hear, because there's no guarantees that they're going to perform every single month. And we all know there's going to be ups and downs, ebbs and flows.
Of course.
But what systems and processes have you got in place to guarantee me that I don't have to come in and baby step you through this? Because, and coming back to what you were saying before, like brand new businesses can't bring in that kind of level because they're not ready for that yet.
Right.
But that's why you as the leader have to take more responsibility and make sure that you do have a better process. Because if you don't, you're increasing the risk of getting it wrong. And
Absolutely.
so you're not going to bring in a leader at first. What you are going to bring in is a very enthusiastic bum on a seat that's going to be like, yay, let's go. But you need to be able to kind of taper that, control that, train that, teach that, coach that. And it's going to take time. There's going to be a lot of sweat equity that goes into your first hires. But an organization like yours, a company like yours, now, like it's a whole new ball game.
Right.
You have to be top 1% to get into an organization like this. And so I am going to put you through the ringer, and you are going to go through it. And the only thing that's going to come out on the backside is you turn around to me and go, awesome hire. I'm like, yep, absolutely right.
And Sean, what do you think? What's your opinion, or what is your thoughts on why? And I'm seeing this even myself with one of my businesses, because earlier on this year I got into digital consulting for influencers, creators, and consultants. And when I was starting to do the hiring process with closers, different closers that typically I would pick, I started running into the issue of closers coming into the organization, and this happened multiple times, man, where they would come into the organization, but then they would say, hey, so because this is a startup, I don't want to put all my eggs in one basket, and I'm going to do multiple offers. Why do closers or have I guess, why are they afraid to commit to one business, especially nowadays in 2024, dude? I experienced that when I did a startup earlier this year, New American Dream, and I had back closers and sales consultants, and they're a little bit newer in the game. They probably like 1 to 3 years on, and they're like, hey, I'm not willing to commit to a startup because I just want to make sure that this works out, so I'm going to do 2 to 3 other offers. Like, number one, there's 2 questions to this. number one, why do closers do that? Why do they have that mindset?
Yeah.
And then number 2, how could business owners looking to recruit closers go ahead and deal with that type of situation?
Yeah, no, it's a phenomenal question, and it's something that you're fighting culture because a lot of sales trainers out there teach work multiple offers.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's bad.
Yeah, it is, and because I was saying this to you before that there's only really top 0.5% that'll be able to pull that off. Someone like me, 100%, I can pull that off, but because you've got different offers with different avatars, different problems, different solutions, you would have to be an extremely competent sales rep to pull that off. And you'd only be able to take maybe 2 calls a day on that offer. And so it's like you're essentially a part-time closer on that offer. It's a huge red flag, massive. And the reason why they do it is to protect themselves, right? And I see from both sides, because having come up through the ranks and being where I'm at now, and now working with business owners, I know where both sides are. But what that rep is looking for is they want safety, they want security, they want comfort, which is really weird for a commission-only sales rep. But they've got bills to pay. They've got mouths to feed. They've got, food to put on the table. And so they're looking at it from a purely monetary perspective. It's like, if that offer goes down, at least I've got this one. So they're able to protect themselves. And that's what they're doing. They're covering themselves financially, which I can see that because, hey, if you can't pay your mortgage, it's pretty stressful.
Yeah.
And, been in that position myself, and it's not fun. So that's what they do. It's a protecting mechanism. But again, culturally in the industry, most sales trainers will say, hey, work multiple offers because you never know. So you're always, I don't agree with that, because then you're always going to expect that to happen. So in the hiring process, like I said, on that 3rd interview, massive amount of expectations. And no, you will not work another offer. However, this is what I'm going to do for you. And this is where that conversation on that interview is really important. I will fill your calendar. That's my obligation to you.
Right.
Your obligation to me is you will only work this offer, right? And that's got to be stone from the beginning, because that closer will only get really good at that offer by only working that offer,
Right.
right? That's it. But most closers will not be able to pull that off. But that interview, that's what it's for. You will only work this offer, and that's it. But my obligation to you is this. Now, how you can help yourself, especially with startups, is to offer what we call a draw. Now, if you don't have a validated marketing, which some startups don't, and so they're kind of going through that testing phase, and it's a bit like, oh, I'm not quite sure. If you lack confidence in your lead flow, you make up for it with a draw. So essentially, you'll never earn less than this amount of money, right? So if we're closing deals and everything's going well, you'll have plenty of lead flow and you'll be able to make the money you want to make. If I drop the ball, what I'm prepared to do is step in with a draw here, so you can at least cover the bills at home. So you can put that in place for at least the first 3 to 6 months whilst you're going through this kind of marketing transition, which typically does happen, right? We see it all the time in new startups. It's like, yeah, I've got the lead flow, but you don't know though, do you? So there's always that safety and security on both sides. If you're looking for loyalty from them, you've got to provide a bit of loyalty to them. It's got to work both sides. I can't expect that person to put all their eggs in my basket if I've never filled a calendar before. You know what I mean? And
Makes a lot of sense.
so
Man.
there has to be a little bit of give and take in there. But do you know what that will do? That will buy you real estate with that closer. And that closer will be like, he's got my back. She's got my back. And I feel like they're going to do whatever it takes to kind of make sure I'm going to win. People they don't want to work multiple offers because it's stressful. It's super stressful managing several diaries. No one wants to do that. They're doing it as a backup plan just in case it doesn't go wrong. But I think, again, as a business owner, you've got to be that leader that's prepared to back yourself and go, I got you, right? If you put your faith and trust and confidence in me, and I put my faith and confidence in you, and this is how it's going to work, you create this binding contract between the two of you that's built on trust and loyalty from the beginning. Not that I'm just going to expect you to give me your time and I'll throw mud at a wall in marketing and hope that something sticks, because you're not starting a relationship off on good grounds there. That's like saying, it's like getting into a relationship and saying, okay, I'm going to have a couple of people on the side just in case this one doesn't work out. That doesn't feel good for anyone. Do you know what I mean? So there's that mutual agreement in the beginning and that management expectations, but they're doing it to protect themselves. It's culturally trained and coached by a lot of sales trainers out there, and it doesn't work.
One thing that I hooked on that you said, man, a key takeaway that I took of business owners, they're going out there to find consultants, closers, employees to work for them to sell their offer.
Yep.
And as a business owner, what I'm seeing a lot is they're going ahead and hiring employees before the offer is proven.
Mm-hmm.
So when would you recommend a business owner or a consultant watching this
Good
right
question.
now to actually go ahead and go from actually taking the calls themselves to actually making that decision, being, okay, I am ready
Yeah.
to find a closer?
Yeah. And I've literally just, one of the business I'm working with at the moment, this is the conversation we just had. I would not, I say allow, but I wouldn't condone bringing on a closer until he got into 200K a month consistently, right? And when I say consistency, for at least 3 months, because yes, he was working his face off, and yes, he had to put the hours in, but what he did was proved that the business can do at least that. He has money behind him now, so when he does bring in a closer, they're not always going to be rock stars from the beginning. You are going to take a little bit of risk. So you do need to build up a little bit of a cushion, so you're not suffering that financial loss and waking up every night in a cold sweat going, oh my God, I need to bring the money in. And because, it's not validated, you don't know whether it's going to work or not. So it's a huge roll of the dice. So this gives you faith and trust and confidence in the process and the system. You've proven that it can be done, which means that it's like the 4-minute mile principle. No one knew it could be done until it was done. And so as a business owner, you don't know it can be done until you've done it yourself. Right. And so once you've done that, I can prove to you as the closer that it can be done. This is how it's done. This is the script. This is the process. This is how I'm going to get you to that amount of money. And so that confidence that you have then is validated from execution and data. It's not a guess. It's not a punt. I speak to so many business owners like, hey, I'll get you to 10 grand. No, you won't. because you don't have the lead flow for it and you've not sold it enough. You've sold it a couple of times, but they're too much in a hurry to get away from the sale because they think it's a low leverage activity. But how can you lead a sales team unless you've done it?
Facts.
You can't. I can't teach you if I haven't done it myself. I mean, I've got 14 years in this space. I know how to teach people how to sell.
You got experience,
I've
man.
got experience.
Yeah.
I've been through the trenches. I know how to do that. But if you're a business owner that hasn't done what you expect other people to do, then they won't do it.
Right.
They'll not follow you into battle because you've not done it. And also, they won't respect you because you've not done it.
Yeah.
And that's what leadership is.
Yep.
It's I respect you because you've done it. You know, and that business owner, he's taken on his first 2 guys and he's like, he was like, thank you for holding me back, because when they're challenging me on the advice I'm giving them, I know I've done it and I know that it works. And so now he's got a team of people that's willing to follow him into battle. And that's what leadership is.
No, absolutely, man. I mean, I've been put in that situation, you know, my humble beginnings of digital marketing, where I had a brand new team. And this was in the startup phase of the second company that I launched that we were just talking about earlier. And they're all like, well, I don't know. We don't think it's possible for us to hit, you know, $100,000 a month in revenue for this offer. And then I'm like, okay, you know, I go close myself in the office for a weekend, generate 400,000, come back and be like,
there you go.
What happened to this? And they're like, you know, they're just shocked.
100%.
They're shocked. But then they, number one, I just earned everybody respect.
Yep.
Number two, it's a limiting belief that people have. And as a leader, I believe that you have to break that.
100%.
Right? Just like anything in life.
Yep, you do.
So to follow with that, Sean, what would you recommend for a business owner to go ahead and do if they're having issues with building a culture for their team, brother? And you know I was going to ask you questions on this pod, man. That's how I roll. You know, I'm asking some questions that a lot of podcasters are not asking, but this is the real shit.
Yeah.
This is what people need to think about when it comes to business.
Yeah.
A lot of psychology.
Yeah.
Just like we were talking about.
Yeah.
Dude.
100%.
You know? So if somebody has a shitty culture, what needs to happen? Do people need to get fired? Do there has to be a rewire? Like what? What action steps can they take?
No,
man?
agreed. I mean, people, if you're going to be a leader, then you've got to have a common mission, vision, and purpose. So if you don't know what mission, vision, and purpose is, you need to start there, because that's the foundations, that's the fundamentals. People will follow you into battle because of those 3 things. So you need to have that very clear in your head, because if you don't know where you're going, you can't create culture. You just can't. So that's the first thing I would say. Know exactly where your business is going, why it's going there, and how it's going to get there. Because people can't get behind someone that doesn't have a plan. Again, it's like a sales call. If I'm taking a sales call and I'm not leader on that call, then that person's going to be confused. And if they're confused, they're not going to buy. So again, confusion breeds this just headless chicken kind of mentality of like, what are we doing? So essentially you get a team that just shows up and does the bare minimum because they don't believe in anything. There's no like confidence and conviction there. So that would be the first thing I do. Second, if I realize that, essentially a shitty culture comes from like poor performance, and poor performance comes from you haven't taught your team properly, held your team accountable properly, standards, right? I can't even impress upon a business owner that doesn't have standards for their team. Because without that, again, coming from the background that we come from, especially in the firearms kind of capacity, there's a standard there that needs to be met, or else you don't carry. Simple as that. And so there has to be, you have to know what you want from your team, how they're going to get it, and exactly what plan there's going to be. So there's standards, a plan, something that people can get behind. Again, a big reason why, especially if you've got like an outbound team, for example, the reason why they're not picking up the phone is because they don't know what to do. And it's like, again, plan, process. So culture, again, comes from leadership, comes from bad process, bad systems, lack of vision, lack of purpose, lack of mission. But first off, you need to look at your team, right, and go, okay, who's the ringleader? Because there's always a ringleader. There is
so true.
always a ringleader. And so what you've got to realize is, especially when you've got like a slightly bigger team like you have, that they're going to they will talk between themselves.
Of course.
And they are bigger than you in number.
Yeah.
And so the key to culture is knowing your team. You know, one of the biggest lessons I learned very early on was, hey man, how you doing? And it's just a social call. Not talk about business, but if I know each and every single one of my team, I can get the most out of each and every single one of my team. And it only takes me 5 minutes. It's just to check how you're doing. I'm not asking about KPIs. I'm not asking about anything else. I'm just seeing how you are.
I love that.
If I take the time, you're going to go, oh my God, he actually cares.
Yeah.
And that's what closers are looking for. Someone that cares, a home. Again, someone that actually takes the time out of their day to spend time with you, to ask you how the kids are.
Yeah.
How's your wife? How's your weekend? Right? What are you doing this weekend? It takes no time to do, but you've got to remember that you're cultivating assets, right? And you're cultivating loyalty, and you don't get that unless you give it. You know, it can't be expected. It's got to be earned. And once they start giving you loyalty, they'll go to war for you every single day, no matter how they're feeling. Right? One of my guys literally on his deathbed with bloody man flu, because obviously it's a dangerous thing, right? So, but he still turned up for work. Yeah. And he was like, I don't want to let you down because it's the end of the month.
In the hospital gown, huh?
Yeah, 100%. Like, I 100% know that he would have done that. Yeah. And it's like, those are the type, that's what you're kind of cultivating. You're cultivating people that don't give up, don't quit, and will be there for you. You know, it's the end of the month right now, and we're all scrambling. Yeah. Like, let's hit that number. Yep. You're going through it, and it's like, I've got 2 deals to go, and everyone's rallying around because we're so close and we don't fail. Exactly. Like, there's one mentality on my teams: we don't miss ever, and we don't. And culture will breed performance, and they'll police themselves. And you see it, like, come on, bro, let's sort this out. And they will police each other without you having to do it, because there's a pride there. Mm-hmm. And that pride is instilled by you making sure that you have a team that knows what to do, how to do it, that's held accountable to it, and that knows that you've got their back. Those foundations and those fundamentals, I think business owners forget them. Yeah. They forget. Because you can have the best CRM in the world. It doesn't change a thing. Yeah. Because you've got people on the phone taking calls, talking to your clients. Right. And so why should they give a crap about your business if you don't care about them? Absolutely. And again, it comes from a hiring, it comes from your leadership, and it comes from your interactions with your team on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. And there has to be, like, you going above and beyond. Hey man, I just sent you, a couple $100 to take your wife out for dinner this weekend. Thanks very much for what you did this week. That was awesome work. And they'll be like, okay, thank you. And they'll love you for it. Of course. And it costs you nothing, but it buys real estate with them. And through the hard times, they'll have your back every single day. And that's what it takes. It doesn't take a lot. It just takes you to just go out your way just a little bit. Yeah. And it's a lot. So it's not an employee now. It's a leader in your business that you're cultivating.
I love that. And we're here building leaders.
Yeah, we are. We have to. Yep. Because, like, you've spent a lot of blood, sweat, equity building what you've built. Yes. And now you're trusting it to someone else. Yep. That's a huge thing to undertake. So I'm not entrusting that to an employee. Mm-hmm. I'm entrusting that to a leader that's going to represent me and my organization at the highest possible level. Absolutely. Because we're going places, we're going to do things, and we're going to do it together.
Yeah. We're not going to stay average, man. That's it. 1%ers.
Yeah. You didn't come to this realization that I'm here to be okay with being okay, right?
Of course. Level up, man.
Exactly. Every day.
Every day, brother. Every day. Sean, so last message for all our business owners, message for all of our closers, message for just everybody listening to this, dude, that you just inspired with this interview, man, because you're going to inspire literally tens of thousands of people. Emilio, right now we got what, like 70,000 people listening in on every episode? Yeah, it's amazing. So what do you got to say to the people, man?
Hold yourself to a higher standard every day, and don't assume that you're good at what you do. Always assume that you don't know anything, and be thirsty and hungry for more. But if you have a gap, fill it. Don't be egotistical or prideful, and don't think that you know what you don't know, because you don't. And you know, it's that it's that personal pride in doing everything. But the best way to put it is this: if you can put your head on the pillow at night, knowing you did everything you possibly could to achieve the dream that you set for yourself, you're winning. But if you put your head on the pillow and going, I didn't do that, then you're not showing up. You're just existing. And that dream will always be that, because you've never done whatever it takes and put yourself in a position of personal sacrifice. And it is short-term sacrifice, long-term gain. And it is going to take more work than you ever thought that it would or could. But you know what? It's possible if you just do the work.
Yeah. Just do the work, guys. You heard it from Sean Wray here.
Yep.
So, Sean, where can they find you? Instagram, website? Do you have a free community? Like anything that you want to share with the audience?
We've got hardlyselling.com. That's myself and a couple of other guys, Dean Carosa, Will Hinkson, and Peyton Welsh. You can find us on the website. All of what we do, we help businesses scale their businesses, obviously recruit, we spoke about today, training sales reps, and everything else in between. So if you're in a kind of conundrum about what to do with your business and how to do it, we execute and implement sales teams. We build sales teams. We run sales teams. I'm just a badass bunch of motherfuckers, really.
And what's the Instagram, brother?
Mine is Double O Sales Project. And then obviously you can find me on Facebook, Sean Wray.
I love that. I love that. And you guys heard it here first from Sean Wray, one of the #1 top sales experts in the online space. Make sure to check him out, guys. And that wraps up another episode here at the Level Up Podcast. I'm Paul Alex, Sean Wray. Guys, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube. If you're listening to this on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, make sure to share with somebody that you love, you care about, and let's level up. Take care.